So a week has passed, and I think my commitment to Thursdays getting into its second week is a good sign. I have a mental list of things that I want to talk about on this channel. So for this video, I figured I'd make a video about mental lists. Very inspired, I know. People have mental lists about a lot of things, pet peeves, qualities they want in a partner, a mental hit list. If you have one of those, don't broadcast it. In fact, if you have one of those, just stop having it. But a hit list is pretty similar to my favorite kind of mental list. Not in the sense that I have a list of things I want to kill, but in the sense that it's a list of people. Because I have a running list in my head of all of the people that I will give massive amounts of money to if I ever win the lottery or become massively rich for some reason. If you're a friend or if you're a family member, you're not part of this list. I wouldn't be able to remember all of those people anyway because I'm just so popular. No, this list is for people that for some reason, or for no reason rather, do something nice for me or around me that they have absolutely no obligation to do. There is no benefit from helping me, and they just choose to do it anyway. Because these people who do things like this, they're not looking at what they'll gain or what they'll lose from helping you. They're just like doing it because that's the kind of person they are, and it's just really cool to me and really sad to me that they don't get any recognition or any reward for their behavior. And I get it, you don't need a reward to do good things, obviously, or else why would they be doing it? But I just wish that 20 years from now when they forget what they did and who I am, I could just like send them $1 million. But I will give you a couple of actual examples of people who are on this list that I keep in my brain. I had this principal in high school and no one really liked her, especially coming after this principal that just gave no fucks and there were no rules. Even though we were all a bunch of like rich white kids who were well behaved, we felt like we could do anything because our principal just didn't care and he was our bro, etc, etc. He got transferred, a new one came in and she was so strict, she was very professional. She upped the ante on the dress code and she made it so we had to stand 6 inches apart at school dances, which made it really hard to impregnate someone on the dance floor, which I think was the goal of like the students. I don't know, that's how dances worked, right? But we just didn't like her because she was putting all these rules on us and squishing our expression as rebellious teenagers. But I never talked to her, I didn't have time to get all tied up with her. I had bigger problems to worry about because I had a band director who was very strict and trying to squish my expression as a teenager. Because I dyed all of my hair blue one day and there was a big concert coming up and he said, you either cannot perform or you have to wear a hat. And I was infuriated. No one even comes to the band concert. I marched to the principal's office right after class, all flustered up, and of course when I got in there I pretty much lost all of my words. I got blue hair and it was a present from my mom and she paid for it and my band director won't let me perform in the concert. He's being so mean. And she was just like, I will take care of it. I will send him an email. You are growing up and you need to be able to do whatever you want while you're young because it won't last forever. And she sent an email to him and he couldn't do shit. Just saying. Another time, same high school, I used to eat lunch under the stairs sometimes, and I wasn't like depressed or anything, but I would just find a stairwell and I would go under it and I would play Plants vs. Zombies for like 28 minutes and then go back to class. Apparently that wasn't allowed and I had been kicked out of that spot multiple times by multiple angry teachers being like, you're not supposed to be here. But one time I was just sitting there and yeah, it's kind of a lonely place, so I understand like where he was coming from, but he just walked over there, he saw me and he said, if you ever need to talk, my office is right there. You're not alone. And then he just like walks away and disappears into the distance. It was just comforting. And I didn't even have any issues, but he just made something better when there was nothing wrong. So I've had this list going for a while and I still remember how it started. I remember why and I remember the person who started it. And I had this issue that I had to deal with throughout all of middle school, all 3 years that I was in it. I used to have this long braid. It went down to my butt, but I did not know how to braid hair. My mom would do my hair every single morning. I would go to school like that. I would come home, I would go to sleep. I would take a shower and my mom would do my hair again and I would go to school and it would repeat forever and ever and ever every single day. No one had ever seen me without a braid ever. And I wanted to keep it that way. I hated the way I looked with my hair just like out and flowing, but for some reason I was afraid to cut it. And it started pretty simple enough. People were like, oh, you have such pretty hair, why don't you do something with it? And then one day, someone pulled the little hair tie out and tried to undo it. And I just freaked the fuck out. And it began to catch on and more people I didn't even know would try and pull this out. My best friends in the world would try and pull it out and undo my hair. I started wearing my hair inside of my sweatshirt so people couldn't see it at all. Everyone outside at recess would try and pull out my hair. And it was so terrible. When I went to sleepovers, they would wait till I was sleeping and do it. I started sleeping with a pillowcase on my head, which probably wasn't even safe. I stopped going to recess until my one friend promised that she would not do it, that she would not touch my hair if I just came out to recess again. She did it again. It was like the biggest one ever. Like 6 people were on me. I was on the ground. I was squiggling all of the squiggles. I was on the brink of tears and they took the whole thing out. The braid was completely undone. Then the whistle blew and everyone had to go back in from recess and they all left and I was so done. I was just laying there. And then this girl came who I knew, but we weren't really friends. And she said, you want me to braid your hair again? And I was just, acting cool, like, yeah, that'd be good. Granted, I don't think anyone understood, and I still don't think anyone understands, like, how miserable I was every single day for about 4 years. And how it was just, like, tearing me apart inside, and how this, like, one person doing the smallest thing just, like, completely restored my faith in humanity and life and everything. Like, I hated everybody and everything. And now I don't. I'm, like, the complete opposite. But I feel like I would just be an incredibly hateful person if I just, like, didn't have that moment of clarity. Like, some people are just good people, no strings attached.